Hey, this is Big Guy DIY Robert coming to you with a boat repair. And I did a little search for this and I was not able to find it. So I wanted to show you what I got here. And I'm putting this out here for others who may have this motor. This is a Merc 20 horsepower. It's not a tiller motor, but it actually hung in. When I say tiller, I'm talking about that. So this one's actually mounted to the boat. Problem I'm having with this motor is you can't get it to come up at all. So what I do know, let me show you the binicle on this one here. This binicle here, or throttle, does not pull out like your traditional throttle cable for a Merc. The throttle is done through this lever right here for this motor. So when you're starting the motor up, you're doing it through this for your RPMs, and you're pushing your key in for an electric choke. Once you get the motor runned up, or warmed up, I should say, click your throttle, push it forward. Now that's in forward gear, but here's the thing. It still won't lift. The prop turns. When it's in gear, this should not turn at all. So let me open this up and get this going here and show you what we got. Underneath this motor is a locking mechanism for tilt and trim. And that is located right here. So if I push this up, I can tilt this. So I'm going to show you a zoom in on this locking mechanism and how it's supposed to work. So this here is your locking mechanism. So when the motor is in forward gear, which it is now, or in neutral, this hook is supposed to be up by design. The reason why is when you're boating and say you hit the ground or hit a rock or an object, with it in forward or neutral, this motor is supposed to be able to kick up. And then when you put it in neutral, or not neutral, when you put it in reverse, this motor is supposed to lock to your height thing here. Well, your tilt and trim adjustment, basically. So whenever you go to trailer this and you got to put the motor up, you just put your binicle into neutral or forward. You lift this up, put it in your trailer mode, and then you're ready to go. So let me put this motor back down. So I went and got the schematics from a dealership because I couldn't find anything online. The hooking mechanism is done through here. So you can't even see it. It's built into the motor itself. I know they have this kind of set up on a 50 horsepower outboard. So when I was going through this, looking in here, here's my shift, here's my throttle. But if we look here, we're missing a rod here. This here, probably have to move it forward to get it out. This little rod here, not attached to anything, is supposed to be attached to that ball. So what happens is when I have the boat in neutral or forward, it's being shifted through here to unlatch that tilt and trim setup. So this is the part, they call it a socket, but this is the part that's used to fix it. The old one, I found in the bottom of the engine compartment, was split. So we're going to install this and see if we get what we're supposed to get. The trick will be is trying to get this ball that I have to attach to, just like here, in a position where I have access. It's kind of hidden behind your two throttle control or your two cable controls here. I'm actually quite surprised that they make this out of plastic versus, say, aluminum or metal. So the nut that's on here, I never turned, so I'm going to base it on the nut itself for the depth. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put grease on that connection. See if you can see that. That's the grease I'm using. Triple guard grease, which is waterproof. I don't need a lot. Something tells me this ain't going to be easy. All right, so what I ended up doing, you saw, I unhooked the bottom cable from it so I can get this ball go down. And now I can get it to reach. So the rod is now attached, so I got to get the cable to come back in. Hey, Justin, can you do me a favor? I need you to move that throttle. There, you gotta pull a red button. Hang on. I just got it. That's it. Bingo. All right, click it forward. Okay. Here we go. That's it. Nice. All right, thank you. Okay. Let's go back. Or actually, I'm going to show you exactly what I did up close. So now I have this rod here reattached to the ball here. This is my throttle. And then you can see another one down here. This is my shifter. So what I had to do is unclip this. So what the clip looks like, you can see the clip on here. You just push it. That's how they come off. And you just push it back on. So that's how the bottom one came off. So I was moving the throttle back and forth, or the shifter back and forth, to try to get this to get the hole realigned. So now that that's attached, we are in neutral. This engine should be able to tilt up. Well, maybe it has to tilt up when it's in forward. Now I'm in forward. Bingo. There we go. So if I go back to neutral, obviously it locks. Now I'm going to go into reverse. In reverse, it should be locked, which is correct because of the way the force of the prop is. When you go backwards, your force is pulling this way. They want the engine to lock. So nice. So that is the first time I've ever come across one of these setups. So I wanted to put it out there. So it's the first time I've ever come across one of these setups on these motors. I was never familiar with it because everything I worked with was always a hydraulic tilt and trim, never this manual or not analog, this manual locking tilt and trim that's worked through the binicle or the throttle. I know this is also done on a 50 horsepower because I've seen it out there, but I've never had to work on it. I've never had trouble with these. A friend of mine had problems with it. He gave me a call and said, hey, can you look at this? Because I have no idea how to work on this engine, and maybe you can see something that's wrong. And when I looked on the engine block, that's first thing I saw was that was broken off. So I made an assumption it had to do something with the locking of the tilt and trim hook or mechanism to hold the motor down, up and down. So anyone out there with this motor or something similar, hopefully this video will help you what to look for. I know the rod that locks and unlocks that hook for the tilt and trim is built through the cowling of the motor and goes into the underside of the engine cowling. So it's not something you can see manually. It's just looking at the shifter and seeing if there's something disconnected. So this is Big Guy DIY Robert signing off. If this was helpful, give me a thumbs up, please. And don't forget to subscribe. Helps me out a lot. Have a good one.